Good evening, good afternoon. This is Andrew Aloha live out of, wait, I'm not sure if this is coming up or not. Timeout. Aloha. Good afternoon. Good evening. This is that timeout. Okay. It's still not working right. There we go. Aloha. Good evening, good afternoon. This is Andrew Aloha live out of Flagstaff, Arizona with Facebook Live, with YouTube Live. Well, maybe not YouTube Live, but anyhow, um, aloha and welcome to today's broadcast with Spiritual Image Productions and Andrew Aloha, myself and I. I um I decided that it was a good idea to get just I want to take a second, a minute, and just not only honor the Earth, today being Earth Day, but also honoring all those that have transitioned, assumably to well, according to the coronavirus, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but because there's some interesting updates that I've come across that I don't know. I'm gonna let you. I'm just gonna give you the information, and you can decide what you want to do with that. But anyhow, I want to go ahead and take a minute and just honor again the Earth. Not that she's dying or she's dead, um, but just to honor her. Period. And then also honor all those people that have transitioned from this huge pandemic that's going on. And may they all be blessed along their paths, and of course, may planet Earth be blessed along her path as well. So anyhow, I want to go ahead and and let you know that tonight in about 2 hours, we're going to be doing a transmission meditation, again in honor of all these people, and today being Earth Day. Not, and Not necessarily that the energies are going to be directed specifically to those people and to the earth, but it just depends on the master or masters, for that matter, that are overseeing the group. But it is what it is, and we'll just go with that. Now, the other thing I want to do is put out the Andrew Aloha Veggie Smoothie Special. I put this out on Instagram and then also here on Facebook, um, and I guess not on YouTube yet. But anyhow, I just wanted to put it out there because I've been making veggie smoothies for about 3 weeks now. I got a mixer about 3 weeks ago, and for the purpose of making veggie smoothies because I can't even buy them at the store anymore. I go to Safeways and I think just about everywhere else. And I first I was buying the Daily Greens by Boathouse Farms, which had a lot of veggies and some fruit in it. And then I started buying. They phased that out. They stopped selling that. And then Naked Drink was selling a drink called Kale Blazers with again with kale and veggies, a bunch of veggies and all kinds of stuff. But again, well, I don't know. I talked to the guy who stalks that, and he said they're trying to bring it back, but I don't know. I'm not holding my breath. So I finally said, screw it. I'm gonna go ahead and just do my own smoothies. So that's what I've been doing, and I've been playing around with some concoctions here now, and the one that I've come across that probably works really well, that I really like, and I think it's really nutritious, is the it's two handfuls of spinach and kale. If you go to Safeways, they have a one of those $5 boxes of greens. I think it's called super greens in a blue label, blue and white label, and it's got spinach, kale, and chard, I think, in it. Baby kale and spinach, and I think baby spinach too, or just spinach. So anyhow, but it's really good. So I take a couple of handfuls of those and put them in the mixer. And the mixture that I got happens to have a bit like a big pitcher. Like it's not like a small one. It's a pretty good size one, and it works. It works really well. So for me, it's perfect. So anyhow, like a half a bush of cilantros, about four or five sticks of celery, four or five or six, one or two cucumbers, a little bit of lemon juice, a fourth or a half of a fresh pineapple, one banana, one apple, a can of 17.5 ounce can of coconut water, and then some Arizona green tea, about, I don't know, whatever you want to put in, but three-quarters of a cup, 2 cups, I don't know, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then you can actually add the optional nutmeg and cinnamon if you want as well. I tried it and it tastes good, but I think if I drank too much of that, it would it just wouldn't work well for me. So again, me being diagnosed with diabetes, it's probably best. I just I, I just don't know that I could tolerate for that much. I mean, it's okay for one or two glasses, but I think beyond that, it would start to get to me. So anyhow, and I'm putting this in the comment section, so that way, if you want to refer back to it, you can refer back to it and make your own concoction or whatever. So the next thing I want to talk about is the movie Draft Day with oh wait, hang on, with Kevin Costner, Jennifer Garner, Dennis Leary, Frank Langella, Sam Elliott, Terry Crews, Rosanna Arquette, Kevin Dunn, Chadwick, or I should say, yeah, Chadwick Boseman, Arian Foster, Josh Pence, and Tom Welling. It came out in 2013. It's I think it's the Cincinnati Browns, I believe it is, um, and the general manager, who's of course Kevin Costner, goes out and makes all these deals, and at the end of the day, he's written something down and he puts it in his pocket, and at the end of the day, when the because it's draft day, and so they decide to start the draft, and he pulls out his little post it, and he's got the name of the player he wants to choose, and that's ultimately who he ends up picking for his first round pick. And so he goes through and he's wheeling and dealing, what a general manager is supposed to do, right? So a very interesting, very intense movie, um, a fun movie to watch, I think. Very and just like you're on the edge of your seat for some of that stuff, right? And then if once you watch that, or maybe after the draft day that's going to start tomorrow, then you can watch that in between somehow. So I would highly recommend that if you haven't watched that movie, and if you're into sports, especially if you're into sports, then I would recommend that you watch that movie somewhere in between the draft, which is going to be from tomorrow through let me see, 23rd, 24th through Saturday. I guess Saturday would be the last day. And what happened was, it's very interesting how this whole pandemic is changing everything around. Wow, it just blows me away. Um, they were initially going to have this NFL draft day or days, I guess, in Paradise, Nevada, but because of the pandemic, it was canceled. So, and I don't know if they were going to have this earlier or not. I don't. I think the dates were still the same. So what's going to happen is that they're going to do a whole video conference program for this, and I think it's going to be on Zoom. I'm not sure. The Cincinnati Bengals have the first overall pick in the draft, their first time doing so since the 2003 NFL draft. The host city for this draft was chosen among finalists: Denver, Kansas City, Las Vegas, Nashville, and Cleveland, Canton in May 2018 during the NFL Spring League meeting when Nashville was chosen to host the 2019. Well, anyhow, um, again, they were going to do this in Nevada, and then now they're doing it all via video conferencing, which is going to be interesting, how that's going to work out. But let me see, the draft will instead be held remotely with team coaches and GMs conducting it via online conferencing software such as Microsoft Teams due to the team facility. But I think it's going to be on Zoom. But and again, I don't know how they're going to do that. But the first round pick is going to be Cincinnati Bengals, and then Washington Redskins, Detroit Lions, New York Giants, Miami Dolphins, Los Angeles Chargers, Carolina Panthers, Arizona Cardinals, and so on are going to be making their picks. And then the second round picks are going to be Cincinnati Bengals, Indianapolis Colts, Detroit Lions, New York Giants, Los Angeles Chargers, Carolina Panthers, Miami Dolphins, and so on. So what I do want to do is I want to go ahead and congratulate and send you best wishes on your draft, I guess, on being selected for the NFL. The following players, good luck and God bless. Joe Burrow, Chase Young, Justin Herbert, Tristan Wirfs, Zach Moss, Miles Bryant, Cameron Williams, Chase. Oh, I already said Chase Young. What are you doing in there twice, Chase? You can't cheat like that. What's wrong with you? Christian Fulton, Jordan Elliott, Derek Brown, Josh Jones, Natane Muti, Hunter Bryant, Curtis Weaver, Jedrick Wills, Mekhi Becton, and Andrew Thomas, Josh Jones. Wait. Josh Jones, you too. You cheater. You can't do that. What's wrong with you? Jeff Okuda, Jonathan Taylor, Robert Hunt, Kerry Collins, Tua Tagovailoa, Tua, Tu, Tagovailoa. Anyhow, sorry if I pronounce your name, dude. Isaiah Simons, C.J. Henderson, Jedrick Wills, Calvin Throckmorton, T. Higgins, Zach Moss, and the rest of the guys that are vying for to be picked for the NFL draft tomorrow and this weekend. So congratulations, good luck, God's luck, and may the force be with you. Why not, right? So it's like that. So anyhow, stimulus money. Oh, you know what I need to do? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna for those of you that haven't received your stimulus check, your stimulus money yet, um, just be patient. And again, the people that got their money already are the ones that already filed for 2019 taxes, and their bank accounts registered with the IRS, which I was one of them guys, and so I did on April 15th. I got my funding coming through. So now the next line of people I believe that are going to be getting their money is the people that were registered for the 2018 taxes and then had their bank accounts registered with the IRS, or maybe that already went through. I don't know. And then the rest of the people, and so I don't know exactly how all that's working, but I'm going to put a link where you can go check to see where you're at with that that deposit or that check. And if you come up with a thing that says uh, is not the information is not available or whatever, then just hold on. Um, I think probably by the first week of May, by the end of that week, everything will be put out, and it's just gonna. And I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's gonna be a little while, and people that are, because some people are already receiving their checks, so I don't know how that's happening, that they're already getting checks. But anyhow, just be patient, and if anything else, refer to the website, the IRS website that I'm gonna put in the comment section. And if you already know it, then of course go there. And if anything else, go in and put in your information, and give your account information, banking information, to the IRS, and somewhere down the road, you most likely you'll get it, unless you're a student and you can be claimed by somebody else on their tax forms, or unless you're an illegal alien. And today I heard, I seen that I was reading that Trump has said that if you're married to an immigrant, somebody that's an alien, then you're not going to get a check. So I don't know how he can do that, which is a line of shit to me. But I mean, at least the individual that's American should get at least one check, and the alien maybe not. So I think that's how it should work. But he's saying that if you're married to an alien, you can't get a check. So I think that's a bunch of crap. But that's besides the point. So anyhow, let me see. And again, tonight at 7 o'clock, in less than 2 hours, we're going to be doing transmission meditation. And if anything else, it's going to be on Zoom, and you can also call in if you want, or call in not only to Zoom but also free conferencing. Um, so it's like that. And if you want the information on that, uh, go to my Facebook page. Oh, actually, go to my website, spiritualimageproductions.com. Spiritualimageproductions.com. On the left-hand side, there's a link that says Transmission Meditation on the Air, or Transmission Meditation. I think it's Transmission Meditation on the Air. Click on that link. That'll give you information, and you can go from there and clock into the Zoom video conferencing, and join us there if you like. And also, um, if you have time to watch the intro video for transmission meditation there that I did, I would highly recommend that you do that. So anyhow, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Again, I'll put the stimulus, the IRS um, websites where you can see where your check is at. And if that doesn't come up, then you can fill in your. There's another website I'll put in that you can put in your banking information, and I'm pretty sure as long as you qualify, then you'll get your information, you'll get your funding coming through one way or another. I'm sure of it. So now it's interesting that it's to note, people are really, they're going stir crazy. It's springtime. They got ants in their pants. They're all in jail at home, and they're going stir crazy, literally. So it's going to be interesting to see how this reopening of the businesses, of this non-essential businesses, is going to happen. Already, who was it? Let me think about this. Nope, nope, no, not yet, not yet. Time out. I'll tell you. Mayor Carolyn Goodman out of Las Vegas wants to go ahead and just jump right in and open up Vegas, but and there's other people that are protesting and that want to open this up. You're idiots. All of you are. Because you're for selfish reasons. You want to open up your city. You want to open up the non-essential businesses, and what's going to happen? Well, if you don't watch out, there's going to be a backlash, and then this whole coronavirus thing is gonna start all over again, and you're gonna be having a hard time, literally. So I think you're placing people. Leadership is about making sure that all your people are safe and secure. That's what proper leadership is. And Carolyn out of Las Vegas, out of Vegas, Goodman, you're an idiot because you're jeopardizing the safety of your people, and that's a line of shit because that's the last thing you want to do. As a good professional leader, you do not go around and jeopardize the safety of your people. That's the worst thing you can do. That tells me you're an idiot, complete idiot, along with all these other people that want to do the same thing. You want to jeopardize the safety and security of everyone around you, all your family and friends included, just because you want to go have ants in your pants and go play around. Whoopie doo. Oh my God. Yeah, it's unreal how people are so selfish and greedy and such assholes. It's bullshit. So, anyhow, um, I, no one, not one city or state should reopen anything until the end of the month at the very earliest, and even better, during the first week of May. So maybe the first week of May might be good. It's hard to say. How you're going to know when it's time to reopen is when it starts to get hot, and it's starting to get there, but it's too soon still to open up anything. I'm sure of it, because the heat is what's going to kill the virus. It's what's going to just wipe out the virus, and as soon as it starts to get hot, I guarantee you that virus is going to go away. And until that happens, which is not even yet, because even today there was a whole bunch of clouds in the sky, and it wasn't cold, freezing cold, but it was still cool. So that tells me it's still too soon. So I would wait till May 5th, and maybe May 5th might be a good day. I don't know. May 6th, May 7th, and some of the bigger affected states are New York, California, I believe. I think Washington. They're not going to reopen until May 15th, which for them is probably a good choice because they got their hands full, and people are still dying left and right in those places. And even though it's starting to get warm, there's still a lot of pandemic going on there. So I would definitely wait until May sometime, probably the middle of, and maybe even the middle of May might be a good year. Again, you don't want to sacrifice your people just for stupidity, and that's complete stupidity that we're talking. Now in Vegas, actually, it might get hotter, really hot in starting in the beginning of May, which is a possibility. And if that's the case, then maybe that's an okay time, but that's still not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed right now, so we'll see what happens soon enough. Um, Now the last major item that I want to talk about before I go into movie reviews is the 90-day Ascension Journey retreat. I literally did a poll to see if people would be interested in doing a retreat on the 90-day Ascension Journey book that I wrote. which is on my website, spiritualimageproductions.com. And on the left-hand side, there's a link that says 90-Day Ascension Journey. Click on that, and that will open up the PDF version of the book. You can read the whole book from there if you want. And again, I had 72 people that said yes, they're interested in doing a retreat for this program. So I'm thinking, if I really get my ass moving, next Saturday, I'm gonna do a retreat, and I think I have it in there. I'm gonna go ahead and post all that information, updated and upgraded. It's on my website called 90-Day. It's a 90-Day Ascension Journey retreat. The name of the website is called 90-Day Ascension Journey.com. I'm going to put it in the comment section so that you can refer to it and just keep checking back. Right now, I don't have anything done to it, but probably by the end of this weekend, I'll have everything up and going. And then if you're interested on doing the retreat, I think I'm going to make it like a 7-hour retreat on Saturday, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon, and then maybe a transmission meditation, a seminar or webinar or whatever on Sunday. So and just give people the ins and outs of doing transmission meditation. But anyhow, I'm gonna make it a donational basis. A suggested price of $97 for the retreat, but again, that's not set in stone. I'm gonna have a donation button, and you can donate whatever you want, and then we'll go from there. So I'm not sure if I'm going to make it a certified program yet. I may, but I have to be very clear on what I'm doing, and as long as I'm clear, then I'll make it a program where you can be get a certificate from that. But it may not be this time around. It may be the next time around. I'm not sure. I'll just have to wait and see. So anyhow, I didn't run into and it's getting to the point again where actually I've been watching movies on Amazon Prime, on Netflix, on Vudu, and then also on Redbox. So and it's been hard to find new movies to watch that seem interesting. And in fact, at some points it's been so lame that even the kids' movies were more interesting. Like, what the hell, right? So the first movie I want to cover is called Ride Like a Girl, with time out. Let me get down to Teresa Palmer, Sam Neill, Stevie Payne. It was actually based on a true story, where this guy has these girls, I think like 5 or 6 of them, and they all like to ride horses or whatever. And he has one girl that I think it becomes a jockey, and then somehow she gets killed. And then the youngest one, I think Teresa Palmer, grows up and she wants to be a jockey, and she ends up winning the cup. I think it was the Australian Cup, which is a huge event in Australia. And don't quote me on that 100%, but I believe that's the Melbourne Cup, I think it's called. And so she ends up in the end, she ends up winning that race, and it's just really amazingly, because she gets in this fight, this brawl with her father, and so she runs away more or less, and she ends up riding horses for somebody else, and then sure enough, she falls off and gets hurt, and she's severely wounded, right? But she makes a comeback. She works through all that, and she sure as hell does comes back and wins the cup, and everybody just like so happy and proud of her, right? So it's like that. And then of course there's Draft Day. And now that came out last year. That movie, Draft Day with Kevin Costner, came out in 2013. The Green Hornet. I just watched The Green Hornet. I think this is the second time I watched it, and I still enjoyed it. Right? It was Seth Rogen, Jay Chow, Cameron Diaz, Tom Wilkinson, Christoph Waltz, Annalee Tempton, and Evan Goldberg. It came out 2011, and of course, if you know anything about the Green Hornet, the son, Seth Rogen, of this mogul um, owner. What's going on? Why am I frozen? Cut it out. Okay, we're gonna go like this. There, that's better. But anyhow, Seth Rogen, his father is killed by this shyster who wants to, of course, run the whole place with his drugs and all this stuff. And so when his dad dies, Seth takes over the company and he fires all his staff. What an idiot. So anyhow, he they give him some coffee, and he spits it out. Well, that's disgusting, right? Who makes the coffee? Why is this coffee tasting like this? It never tastes like this, right? So they go, well, yeah, the NATO, I think his name is NATO, but anyhow, he's the one that makes it. So NATO, I think that's his name. Let me make sure. I'm pretty sure. No, Cato. I knew there was something wrong. Cato, who's one of the assistants, he gets fired, and he's the one that makes the copy, and he's the handyman. He fixes all this stuff, but he also makes all this interesting stuff, right? Um, and so anyhow, he's like a genius. So he goes, well, get him over here right now. So he comes and he makes this contraption that makes coffee, and that's how he's able to make such good coffee. So he turns it on, makes the coffee. He goes, okay, then I want you to help me out and fight, and go on this adventure and fight all this crime. And so, of course, they finally get the guy that's trying to run his his company and run the town, city, right? And I think what is the mayor? I think it's the mayor that's trying to take over the place too. So they're in cahoots with each other, or yeah, they're in bed with each other. This Vando guy, and then also the mayor are also in bed with each other. So they're trying to run the whole city, and of course at the very end they get killed. Blah blah blah. It's funny. It's some, it's violent to some extent, of course, but it's funny and it's interesting, and I think it's if you want to sit down and grab a beer and a movie that's pretty intense. It's not incredibly intense. It is pretty intense, but it's pretty funny. Well worth watching. This is actually probably one of Seth Rogen's better movies that I've come across. He's made some good movies here and there, but there's some movies that he made that were shit, right? So this is one of his better movies. Tenure it came out in 2009 with Luke Wilson, Gretchen Mol, David Koechner, Sasha Alexander, Bob Gooten, and William Bogert. Um, of course, Seth, or not Seth, but what's his name? Luke Wilson is is a professor at this college out in the East Coast, Pennsylvania. I think it was in Pennsylvania, and so he's one of the English teachers there, and he's up for tenure, right? And his friend gets denied, and his friend is kind of an idiot. He he's teaching classes on Bigfoot, right? So and then throughout the movie, what's his name? Luke Wilson keeps seeing Bigfoot, so it's really kind of funny. And then they hire a new English teacher to take his spot because they're already planning on getting rid of him or whatever, right? So apparently she's out of Yale University. She was teaching there, and apparently she wasn't doing too well there. So I think they wanted to get rid of her or something, or So she ended up at this other college. So in the very end, um, they go through all this stuff, and it turns out that Luke and Gretchen Mole like each other, right? So but the friend keeps being a cock block, right? He keeps trying to get him to make her an enemy, and really screw her up, so she won't get the position, and he'll get tenure, right? So finally, at the very end, the school offers him um, a tenure position, I think, for a year, and he has to write do some kind of a project where he's published, and then they'll let him in. But he says, "Screw you, I'm out of here." So I think he ends up teaching at some local high school or something like that. So it's funny, it's interesting, romantic, and it's a fun movie to watch. I really enjoyed that movie. Let me see, March of the Penguins. Now that movie I enjoyed as well, with narrator Morgan Freeman. So and it came out in 2005. It is older, and I had actually see people had said that this movie was good, but I just never watched it. And so I can't remember if this was on Amazon or on Vudu. I think maybe it was on Vudu or Amazon. Anyhow, it was interesting. It was a documentary, and the footage and the scenery and the background. Wow, this is a movie you definitely want to watch on the big screen. If not, if you can, otherwise just watch it. But and the filmmakers must have gone through a process, because wow, the footage they got. If you've ever watched Happy Feet 1 or 2, especially number 1, I mean it's like you're watching Happy Feet all over again, except the real life version of it. Except and there's no dancing in it, right? So it's like that. But wow, it was really interesting. I really enjoyed that movie. A lot of things that you wouldn't even know about the Emperor Penguin, I believe they're called. That and just the sacrifices and the journey that they take is out of this world. If humanity had to do that kind of a sacrifice, I don't know that humanity would be able to hang with that really good at all. But wow, it's just amazing, all the stuff that they go through, just to mate and have a kid, and then go back to being their lives again, back to their lives again. So it's very interesting. Forget Paris. Oh my God. Now this was an older movie, 1995, with Billy Crystal, Deborah Winger, Joe Montagna, Julie Kavner, Richard Masur, Kathy Moriarty, John Spencer, Cynthia Stevenson, Robert Constanzo, and William Hickey. Wow. These people. It starts out with this group of people at this bar because they're having a reunion or whatever, right? And they start talking about Billy Crystal and his adventures. His dad dies, so he goes to France to bury his dad, because that's where he wants to be buried at. And then the person in charge of the the morgue or whatever, she Deborah Winger, of course, they lose his coffin, and he has to stay there for a few extra days because they have to find the coffin. So she takes care of him, and they hit it off with each other. They're interested in each other, and they start going out, and so she ends up quitting her job and moving to America, because he's an umpire, right? An umpire for basketball, professional basketball, and people don't like this guy on there. It's really funny because he's a real asshole, right? And he's just like, "You're out of there," blah 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 blah, and then you're out of it. He throws one player out, and then he turns out throws another player out, and people are just going boo boo boo, right? But he's been, that's like his career. He's been doing it for years and years, right? So anyhow, it's funny, and so she ends up moving to America, and then that they start going into. That's when they start going through all the trials and errors. Yeah, right. Trials and tribulations. So she moves out and she goes back to France, and then he goes. I think he goes. Well, he's going to go to France to go get her instead of going to the reunion, right? And so she ends up showing up at the reunion, and they live happily ever after. Blah blah blah. Right? It's like that. So anyhow, and those are all two thumb up movies that I just described, including Draft Day, and the rest are 1.5 thumbs up. I Hate Kids with Tom Everett Scott, Rachel Boston, Rhea Seahorn, Titus Burgess, Julian Fetter, Julianne Emery, and Tom Everett, who it starts out him and his wife. I think it's Rachel Boston, if I remember right. Anyhow, they're going to get married. He's going to get married, but he writes a book that becomes like a bestseller or something like that called "I Hate Kids" or something like that, right? Smart move. So anyhow, on their engagement day, they're practicing for the wedding, right? On the weekend before the weekend before the wedding, they're practicing. They're doing the you know the what's it called? Uh, the state, the in theater it would be called the staging, right? The staging of the wedding. But anyhow, they're practicing, and all of a sudden his kid, I think it was a 13-year-old kid, comes in. You're my dad. What do you mean? You're my kid. I'm your dad. Come on, kid. So he takes him to the bathroom and has a good talking. Why are you doing this? He's like, well, and this psychic said that you were my dad, and sure enough, they somehow get his a DNA test done for both of them, and the DNA matches up, right? So he goes, I just want you to help me find my mom. He goes, oh, okay. And then after that, you can just get out of my life, and I'll deal with it. So he goes, so they make this deal, right? So he goes, when did I have you? Well, between so and so dates. He's going, oh my God. So apparently he was like a gigolo back in those dates, right? That time frame. He was in with all these women. So they go to all these women that he thinks it would be his mom, and one punches them, one has a flamethrower, and it's just trying to burn them. All this other stuff's happening, right? So it's like crazy. And then they finally find the mom. She already has like 5 kids, four or 5 kids, and then she goes, okay, come on, kid, you can join the family. And so he leaves him there, and then all of a sudden his conscience kicks in, right? Guilt trip, guilt trip, guilt trip, right? So he goes back, and he talks. At this time, the fiance is already pissed off at him, and she's ready to call it off, and he's ready to call it off because now he wants kids, because now he's feeling guilty, and then she wants kids too all of a sudden. So they go, oh well, then let's go get my son, and so they go back and get his son, and they live happily ever after. Blah blah blah. Rambo: Last Blood. You know that would have almost been a one movie, and there was a lot of violence in there. And I had, I have all these categories that I have for movies, and I literally today I just added that one, violence, a lot of violence to the movies. Um, and so anyhow, the thing that brought it up to a 1.5 was that the fact that well, in this movie, Rambo goes and takes on the whole cartel, and kills them all, right? Who's trafficking women, sex trafficking, and that's what brought it up. His friend's a granddaughter says, "I'm going to go find my father in Mexico." So she goes to Mexico, and sure enough, she gets ate up by these cartel, and she ends up finding her father. Her father's a real asshole, right? Um, and and maybe he because he told her, I don't want anything to do with you, blah blah blah. I don't love you, and maybe he did that so she would just go home and forget about him so that she can move on with her life. I don't know, maybe, but it's hard to say. But anyhow, Rambo goes and gets her, and this guy's what, 65, 66 years old or whatever, in the movie. Really? Come on. You're like, dude, and he's beating up and killing all these people, whatever. So, that was cheesy, and I think even the other critics ate up this movie because he's just too old to be Mr. Hero. I mean, yeah, one or two guys he might beat up, but I mean, we're talking about a whole army that he's taking on and killing and taking them out, right? So it was that was cheesy. And then the girl dies. Even after all that, the girl dies. So whatever. The Spy Who Dumped Me. Um, this is 2018 with Mila Kunis, Kate McKinnon, Sam Hugan, Jane Curtin, Gillian Anderson, Hassan Minhaj, Justin Thoreau. That's this is like the second time I watched this movie. It's funny as hell. Definitely, if you want to sit down and watch a funny movie, it's kind of violent, but it's funny as hell. I definitely recommend it. Mila Kunis's boyfriend turns out to be a CIA agent, and he's overseas, and somehow he's hiding all this stuff. There's a lot of cheesy stuff in there that, come on, whatever. And even though it's not necessarily slapstick, but it's a comedy movie, there's some stuff that just doesn't belong in there. But anyhow, um, her boyfriend is 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 um is a CIA agent, and he somehow is in trouble, and he gets home, and all of a sudden, all these bad guys chase him home, right to her place, and all of a sudden they start attacking the place, attacking her, attacking him, and supposedly he gets shot. So Mila Kunis and her friend Kate McKinnon have to go to I can't remember, somewhere overseas. I think it was like not Spain, but maybe somewhere near Spain or something like that. Anyhow, they had to go overseas and deliver this flash drive to these people so that it could save all these people, because otherwise these other people were planning on getting this flash drive and using it to kill all these people, right? So anyhow, it's a chain of events that takes place, and one one action packed episode after another, and turns out that Mila Kunis is a hell of an agent, right? And Kate, oh my gosh, she's just the shadow, right? She's just the sidekick. So it's just hilarious. There's some funny stuff in there. Gillian Anderson is the head of the CIA, and they're like, wow, she's cool. She's like the head of the CIA or whatever. Oh man, we honor you, we respect you, blah blah blah. So anyhow, the Gillian Anderson goes, send him home now, right? So anyhow, one of the agents ends up turning out to be a good guy and helping him out and working with them, and they all three of them together. I think Sam Hugan is the one that Hugan was the one that's the good guy. Um, CIA agent, and helps them out. And of course, at the very end, they end up becoming agents, right? So it's like that. Um, Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase. Sophia Lilius, Sam Trammell, Linda Lavin, Andrea Anders, and Mackenzie Graham, Zoe Renee, Andrew Matthew Welch, and Jay Devon Johnson. Um, I don't know if you've ever watched a Nancy Drew mystery movie or series show, but this is great for the kids, especially the girls who will be inspired to be CIA agents, right, or FBI agents. Why not, right? So anyhow, it's Nancy Drew's like this comedy investigator, right? Comedian investigator. So they go out and investigate this haunted house, and apparently belongs to one of the girls at school. That's her grandmother. It belongs to her grandmother, and she's a real biatch, right? It's like that. So they end up Nancy Drew ends up going to the house and investigating with this mean girl, and they come to find out they're trying to scare the grandma to get out of there and to sell the place because they're going to do some kind of major um, mall or something. I can't remember what. I think it's a mall they're going to put in there. So they want to get rid of her so that they can buy the house and put it in that mall. And then these thugs, I can't remember, it was the mayor or something like that. So, somebody in the city, I think it's a city person, was involved and trying to get rid of them. And of course Nancy Drew figures out who they are. Right? It's like that. The Private Lives of Pippa Lee. Oh, Robin Wright Penn, Blake Lively, Alan Arkin, Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder, Monica Bellucci, Maria Bello, Julianne Moore, um, and Zoe Kazan. Um, Mostly, this is about Blake Lively, who who's younger, and then Robin Wright Penn is the older version of this character, right? And they keep going back into the both lives, right? The present and the past, and and the mom is a real nutcase. She's into all these drugs and alcohol. She's just not. No, and basically she takes all the speed, right, to keep her going throughout the day, and she's like really has a yo-yo type of emotional personality going on, and Blake Lively still, she still loves her mom, but wants to help her. So she goes and gets on the speed, and then finally the mom, I think she just runs away. I don't know if she was kicked out. I can't remember, but I think she just ran away and she went to her sisters, and her sisters come to find out is a lesbian with Julianne Moore, who's the partner, the lover. So she stays there for a little while, and then Julianne Moore brings over her friend, and they do this photo shoot of all this exotic stuff going on, and the sister comes home early and she sees them doing this, so of course she kicks Blake Lively out, and then so she ends up at the beach, and that's when she meets Alan Arkin, who ends up becoming her husband later on. He's an older guy, and so he ends up becoming her husband. So she marries him, and eventually Robin Wright Penn comes into the picture, and now you're up to date. And so anyhow, the Alan Arkin ends up dying, and she Robin Wright Penn ends up taking off with Keanu Reeves. They meet each other. They're neighbors, and they all of a sudden start getting involved with each other. And so Alan Arkin ends up having a love affair right before he dies with one of her friends, one of Robin Wright Penn's friends, and she's not even pissed. She's like numb. She's like a zombie. She's like, I just can't do this lifestyle anymore. I feel like I'm a nobody type of thing. So she ends up getting involved with Keanu Reeves, and then at that point, Alan Arkin dies. At the very end, she's like, "I'm out of here. I'm taking off with Keanu Reeves," and they're going on a trip. Right? So anyhow, please stand by, and that movie is out in 2008. Uh, well, I guess I did that movie out of sequence. But anyhow, the next movie, Please Stand By, with Dakota Fanning, Tony Collette, Alice Eve, Patton Oswalt, River Alexander, and Tony Revolori. Came out 2017. This autistic kid, Dakota Fanning, um, ends up in this like halfway house, this group home type of thing, and she's actually, of quite intelligent, but her social skills are definitely not the best in the world, right? So anyhow, she's into Star Trek, and she ends up writing she ends up there's let me see, let me go to there like that. Anyhow, she's a big fan of a Star Trek, and all of a sudden they have this time out. Let me get caught up. They're having a contest uh, for whoever writes the best script for the next episode of Star Trek, and she's like really inspired, and so she does. She writes it, and she has to submit it by February 16th. She only has like 2 or 3 days left to go, and she has to submit it by then. And she can't send it. I can't remember why, but for some reason she couldn't send it. So she just goes, screw it. I'm just gonna take it myself. So she does. She runs away, and all leads to into all these episodes, all this mirage of events that take place. And she finally gets there, and she submits the um, the script, and only to find out that they didn't accept her script, but they still wrote her a letter and said, "Thanks anyhow, kid. Don't give up. Keep trying, kid." And so, and then she ends up um, finally being with her sister, living. I think she ends up living with her sister at the end. I don't know. It wasn't clear, but her sister is pregnant. She finally has a kid, and at the end, she gets to hold her niece. So, and that was a nice ending. It was a nice ending. So, anyhow, very interesting movie about autistic kids, autistic people. So. Dear Dictator. Oh my God. That came out in 2016 um, with Michael Caine, Katie Holmes, Odeya Rush, Jason Biggs, and Seth Green. This one girl, um, Katie Holmes' daughter, who's Odeya Rush, is in high school. I think she's like 16, 17 years old, and she's one of those outcasts, and these girls keep giving her a hard time. And Jason Biggs, who's her teacher, ends up giving the class assignment to pick a leader and write a letter to that leader, or connect or contact that leader, and learn what you can about him, and then write an essay on it or whatever. So writes this dictator from somewhere, some foreign country, who's a a scando, somebody that's like Saddam Hussein or something like that, right? And she connects with him. He writes her back, and all of a sudden his country gets overthrown. He's overthrown from his leadership. So he ends up at their house, escaping through their house, and so he ends up staying with them, and the mom, Katie Holmes, end up getting the hots for him, and so anyhow they go through all this stuff, and in the end, somehow they find out that he's staying there. The police surround them, and they want her, the um, the girl Odeya Rush, I think that is that her name, Odeya Rush. They want her because they think that she's a spy or something like that. So they do. They take her in for questioning, and he sells Michael Caine, the dictator, out. She goes, well, yeah, the because all these investigators are going, well, we know you're hiding something. You need to tell us, blah blah blah. Yeah, right? They're like badasses, right? So finally, and Michael Caine is teaching her how to be a leader, and she takes on these three girls that are real jerks, and and makes them mud, right? And then the whole school's like, yeah, they're all going, yeah, yeah, right, type of thing. So she takes on and takes up her leadership role at the high school, and she ends up being a dictator herself, right? But in the end, she sells Michael Caine out, and saying, yeah, I've been hiding something, and and so she does it because she knows that's the best way to deal with him, and that he'll be safer in jail than he will be wherever they may take him otherwise. So it's like that. Midnight Special, 2015, with Michael Shannon, Edgerton, Kirsten Dunst, Adam Driver, Jaden Leiffer, and Sam Shepard. This kid, and I don't know if he's autistic or not. It doesn't really say, but he's like I want to say prodigy, but he has like these superpowers with something going on with his eyes, right? All this light comes out with his eyes, and all this stuff happens. So anyhow, the dad, um, I can't remember what the kid's name is. I think Jaden Leiferer. I think that's his name. I'm not sure, but anyhow, the dad and a friend of his go. They're taking him. They got to take him to. He's got to be somewhere at a certain time, certain place, and because something's going to happen there, right? So they take off, and they're being chased by the cops, and they're looking for him. Blah blah blah. Amber Alert, right? Type of thing going on. And so Kirsten Dunst, they go take him to go visit his mom, Kirsten Dunst, and then they take off and come to find out that this kid is like an alien, literally an alien or something. And he does like his eyes, something happens with his eyes or something, and all of a sudden there's like this huge energy circle that's around him and the father, and they are able, and they're literally able to see into another dimension, and inside this bubble there's all this buildings, all these cars driving around and all this stuff, and it's like a new age type of thing, like a society from like 25th century, 3000 century or something like that. So anyhow, the the reason the kid's there is because they're going to take him and he's going to go back to where he came from, as a, where he's supposed to be in somewhere. So anyhow, they finally get him there, and they do. He disappears and he moves on, and then it's like that. So the next movie, Dirty Beautiful, with Rick Maybe, Jordan um, Monaghan. So anyhow, came out 2015. Um, this guy Rick Maybe keeps having these dreams. This girl is coming into his life, and sure enough, he's driving down the road and he's parked, waiting for the light, and all of a sudden there she is. He doesn't even realize it, right? This woman is like having this fight with this guy, and she says, "Screw it!" So she gets out of his truck, goes and jumps into his truck. He goes, "Come on, let's go, get out of here." He's going, "Oh, I'm not going to get involved in this." "Well, you're too late. You're already involved with this." They take off. So anyhow, she's a homeless wreck. I think maybe is a good phrase. She's from Idaho, and she's basically been out on the streets all her life, most, and on drugs and hooking and all kinds of stuff. And so finally, they have this ongoing um, you know, relationship that's like a yo-yo again, up and down, and she wants to have a kid, so she does. She gets pregnant, and then all of a sudden he doesn't want it because he's freaking out, and so they go and have the kid removed. They get an abortion. She gets an abortion, and then she gets pissed off and takes off, and supposedly goes back to Idaho, and then and he's going, "Yeah, my life is great now that she's out of my life, right?" Ling, 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 ling. She's calling, "Hey, can you come and get me? I'm in trouble." Right at the last minute, she's she's back in the saddle again with him. So anyhow, it's a funny um, movie. And it's just really interesting for guys maybe guys that that are having a hard time relationships and have been single for a long time, maybe this might be a good movie for you. I don't know, but you can check it out, see what you think. So anyhow, The Forger came out 2014 with John Travolta, Christopher Plummer, and Ty Sheridan. Um, John Travolta somehow ends up in prison for some kind of bank robbery or some kind of robbery or something like that. So he gets out and he sells himself out. He he wants to get out early because his son is dying and he wants to visit his son before he dies, right? So so in the meantime, when he gets out, the thug that bailed him out, put out all of this money. He's going, well, I want you to go and forge a painting for me, and then I want you to steal the original and give it to me, so because I'm going to sell it. He goes, no, I can't do that. He goes, either that or you go back to jail. Yeah, what an asshole, right? It's like that. So he does. He goes, does the painting, and then his son is going, well, I want you to include me. I want to help you out. He goes, no, 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 no. He's going, yes, if I do anything at all that's worth living for, I may as well do this. Why not, right? So they do. They go and steal the forged copy, and I mean the original, and then put the forged one there. And then there's these investigators that are tracking him, right? They see everything that's going on. So at the very end, he goes and he goes, I know you're tracking me, and just wait a few minutes, and then arrest these guys, blah blah blah. They're the ones that are stealing the painting, blah blah, and then they take off, right? So it was like that. 2013 Cavemen with Skylar Aston, Camilla Bell, Chad Michael Murray, Deo Okeniyi, Oken Okeniyi, Alexis Knapp. Um, Hang on a second. Caveman. Why am I forgetting what that movie is all about? Time out. Uh, why am I having a hard time with this? Yeah, anyhow, Skylar Aston. Oh, he's in this relationship. Oh, that I remember now. And what's her name is in this, right? Yeah, Camila Bell. So anyhow, he's in this relationship, and she's just like unconscious type of person, and he breaks up with her or something. I don't know what, or maybe she breaks up with her. Anyhow, he ends up with his buddies at this bar, and then Camille Bell comes in, and they're best friends. So she wants to dance. It's obviously she's got the hots for him, but he keeps putting her off, putting her off, putting her off. Finally, he comes to his senses, and they get involved with each other. Blah blah blah. And it was an interesting movie in terms of dynamics, I guess, that because the Camille ends up with his best friend, one of his best friends, and then he gets involved with Alexis Knapp, and their boyfriend and girlfriend with each other, and then they meet with each other, and then they're like trying. I don't know if they're trying to make each other jealous or they're just jealous. You can tell they're not incredibly outrageously jealous, but they're jealous, and so somehow they end up with each other anyhow. And then Alexis now ends up with his friend. So they swap partners, right? Swinging, why not? But anyhow, interesting movie. But there was some cheesy stuff that just didn't need to be there. Cowgirls and Angels, James Cromwell, Bailey Madison, and Alicia Witt. Um, 2011. This young girl, I think she's about 10 years old. she's just a troublemaker. Her and her mom don't get along, and her mom's always trying to control her, and so she takes off and ends up going to this ranch where all these horses are, and then James Cromwell, of course, is the one that owns the ranch, and so anyhow, she come to find out her dad was a major, or either her dad or her grandfather, again, one of them was a major writer, and so anyhow, James Cromwell manages this group of girls that do all this writing during rodeos, and so they travel around. So anyhow, she wants to be um, in this group, or he actually offers her a position in the group, and but he has to she has to get a note, a signed signature, a release from the mom, which she fakes and blah blah blah, and which I thought was a lot of crap. Because why wouldn't James Cromwell go and make sure that at least talk to the mom and find out and make sure she has authority, not authority, but I don't know why I can't remember the word, but anyhow, he come to find out she fakes the note and blah blah blah. Lucky Seven, Kimberly, William Paisley, Patrick Dempsey, Brad Rowe, Gailey O'Grady, Brian Markinson, and Michelle Harrison. Um, it's like one of those Cinderella movies. Patrick Dempsey owns a bakery or whatever in town, and Kimberly always goes in there to get coffee. And so anyhow, they end up going to this wedding together, and they fall in love with each other. Blah blah blah. So it's like that. Anyhow, So Plain came out 2004. Kevin Hart, Tom Arnold, Snoop Dogg, Sofia Vergara, Missy Pyle, Ariel Kebbel, Katie Albert, a Method Man, and Godfrey. Um, it had potential. It was slapstick comedy, but there was so much stupid stuff in there that I just, I was barely able to watch the whole movie. So it was like that. Anyhow, have a God Goddess week. Be the love that you are, always have been, and always will be. Aloha.